Right, good evening and many thanks for joining us. This the 27th day of January, the year 2026. Indeed, it's a day that a lot has happened in the world of politics. Now, after 30 years in politics, actually it's over 30 years in politics, the former Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi has called it a quit in a long decade career that has spanned over 30 years. He was first elected as Member of Parliament in 1992. Then in 2013, he was elected as the first Senator of Meru County. Then he was elected in 2017 as the Governor. And in 2022, he lost to Kawira Mwangaza, the former impeached Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza. Now, away from that, now, President, or rather the Parliamentary Committee, has cautioned its members, especially about preparing for life after retirement. Now, this comes at a time when there has been consistent call from the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission to actually fast-track the process as far as the boundary delimitation is concerned, as the country prepare for the 2027 general election. That and many more in our subsequent bulletin tonight. And this is what to expect.
This is Kutv Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Right, we are glad you chose to join us tonight. Remember, we are coming to you live on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV News. You can tweet us on X at KUTV_Kenya, at Auma Evans. The hashtag to use, State of the Nation. So tonight we begin with matters politics. Now, the former Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi has officially hanged his political boots after 3 decades in active politics. Kiraitu said he had learned his lesson, and having spent over 30 years in active politics, it was time to call it quits. Kiraitu was first elected in 1992, serving as Member of Parliament and Cabinet Minister in the late President Mwai Kibaki's regime before he ran for Meru Senate in 2013. He won the seat, ran for Governor in 2017, won the seat until he was defeated in 2022 by former impeached Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza.
This is not about politics. And I even said I've retired from electoral politics, and this has broadened my mind. But now I'm in low temperature politics, and I find this intriguing and as interesting. Yeah, so even if you don't see me now singing on top of drugs and all that, yeah, I'm still thinking about democracy.
All right, moving on, as preparation for the August 2027 general election continue to gain momentum, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission, IEBC, is grappling with several challenges facing the preparedness and the organization of the general election, as well as by-election expected to be held next month. The Erastus Ethicon-led team stated that it will adopt a step-by-step approach in reviewing electoral and ward boundaries, citing constitutional, legal, and operational obstacles that make it difficult to complete a full boundary delimitation process before election. However, the prolonged absence of commissioners, ongoing court cases related to the national population census, and the pressure from other electoral responsibilities have been cited as a major factor delaying the process.
Or reflects the Commission's commitment to upholding constitutionalism while safeguarding the integrity and preparedness of the electoral processes. Boundary delimitation, ladies and gentlemen, is a cornerstone of Kenya's representative democracy. It operationalizes the constitutional principle of one person, one vote, one value.
Now, the Senate County Public Accounts Committee has now summoned the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to explain why he failed to arrest and present Samburu Governor Laiti Lelelit before the committee. The Senate is accusing the police chief of disregarding lawful parliamentary orders, while the governor is alleged to have repeatedly ignored summons to appear and explain the use of billions of shillings in public fund during the 2023-2024 financial year. This move has sparked serious questions about the enforcement of the law, accountability of public leaders, and the role of police in enabling Parliament to carry out its constitutional mandate of overseeing the use of public funds. Now, Registrar of Political Parties was today put to task to settle the debate of whether impeached politicians can lead a political party. In a quick rejoinder during the 5th session of Parliament, or rather preparing for the Transitional Political Parties Fund, the Registrar of Political Parties, John Cox, stated that his office is not mandated to handle the matter, as our political affairs reporter Edward Nyamu now reports.
The office of the registrar, led by Mr. John Cox, has been tasked with the duty of ensuring that it monitors the process for smooth transition with the help of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and the National Intelligence Service. On impeached leaders leading parties, Cox had this to say.
And for the registrar of political parties, I can only regulate parties, I can regulate coalitions as per the provisions of the Political Parties Act and the Constitution. If people decide to have political engagements and arrangements outside the regulations of the office of the registrar, it's a little bit hard to regulate that which has not been brought to the framework of what you have been provided for and given to do in the Constitution. So I do believe that it may be need, and that's why I said earlier that we probably, I'm happy that the chair of the commission is here. Probably we may need to have ile inaitwa tusemezane ukweli.
26th legislative retreat saw members of parliament receive guidelines on requirements of political parties in terms of nomination, campaigns and elections. The political parties, which are said to be over 90 in number, are required to submit their list of members to the registrar 3 months earlier before election, with the party membership list to be submitted 14 days earlier in Parliament before IEBC.
Of the Political Parties Act establishes the Political Parties Fund, and Section 24 requires the sources of the fund be not less than 0.3% of all the national government share of revenue as divided by the Annual Division of Revenue Act enacted pursuant to Article 218 of the Constitution.
On the submission of the coalition agreement of parties, the parties have been tasked to avail documentations in time for certification. However, it has been stated that members cannot be in two parties at the same time. The fee for legal certification has been set at 500,000.
Coalitions as per the provisions of the Political Parties Act.
On the political parties' funds, the registrar highlighted that only 47 parties codify and has warned against misuse of political parties' funds, stating that proper auditing is done to review spendings. The session, which is the 5th, is now expected to fast-track preparedness of the 2027 elections. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Now, the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has cautioned members of Parliament against the excessive summoning of cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, warning that the practice risks creating administrative paralysis. And as KUTV's Patricia Alex reports, Wetangula stated that some of officials have been summoned by more than 3 committees on the same issues.
Speaking on Tuesday during the 2026 retreat for members of the National Assembly in Nakuru, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula said that he has received complaints from the executive officials who feel they've been oversummoned by parliamentary committees.
The heads of those institutions are repeatedly invited to appear before multiple committees on the same matter. While oversight is a constitutional duty of this House, it must be exercised without creating the perception of undue pressure or causing administrative paralysis.
According to the Speaker, some officials have been summoned by more than 3 committees on the same issues after appearing before another committee on the matter. He noted that most of the affected by these reported summons are the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja and TSC Acting CEO Evelyn Mitei.
For example, the Inspector General of Police and the Teacher Service Commission have on occasion been subjected to multiple summons over similar issues, with the reports and concerns subsequently escalating up to my office.
On his part, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah stated that the Kenya Kwanza government should still be treated as the majority side in the National Assembly, despite a High Court ruling questioning the decision. He said that past decisions by the House remain valid and asked MPs to focus on the current numbers in the Parliament when deciding leadership.
Because you heard when Robert Bui was concluding the remarks, he read from the Right Honorable Junet Mohammed, leader of minority. So, and I hope there are lessons you are learning.
The 5th retreat is expected to shape how Parliament conducts oversight and leadership going forward and preparing for the remainder of the 13th Parliament term as the country heads towards the 2027 general elections. Patricia Alex for KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, switching gears to matters diplomatics. Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has reaffirmed Kenya's commitment and relationship with India that remains strong and firmly rooted in diplomacy. Mudavadi made the remarks at the Indian High Commission in Nairobi during celebrations marking 77 years since India became a republic, praising India's leadership on the global stage and its growing contribution to the global south. The long-standing relationships between the two countries was emphasized alongside the contribution of Kenyans of Indian origin to Kenya's development. Kenya also acknowledged India's support in education skills, development, trade, maritime, security, and international cooperation.
India is Kenya's reliable development partner, contributing significantly to Kenya's skill development through training slots for civil servants under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation (ITEC) program, as well as scholarships for Kenyan students under the Indian Council for Cultural Relation program. Kenya and India share long-standing diplomatic and historical ties dating back to Kenya's pre-independence time. Long before European exploration, well-established trade networks linked India and Kenya's Swahili coast. We share a common legacy of anti-colonial struggle, with many Kenyans of Indian origin actively involved in Kenya's fight for independence.
These people are not merely visitors or guests, but an integral part of this nation's story. Recognized now as Kenya's 44th tribe, they have contributed for over a century to building of Kenya's economy, its education system, its healthcare sector, and its philanthropic traditions.
All right, now let me take you to Garissa County. Residents of northeastern region have been urged to shun away clan and ethnic-based politics in favor of issue-based leadership. Since independence, the region has practiced negotiated democracy where elders endorse its candidate along clan lines, often guaranteeing electoral victory. However, this system has increasingly faced criticism, especially from youth and women who often feel excluded from leadership opportunities. Speaking to women groups in Garissa, senatorial aspirant Ahmed Abdullahi argued that clan politics had hindered development and accountability, calling for people-centered politics that prioritize development, accountability, and collective progressive over clan interest.
We need to change our political discourse from ethnic, clan, personal discussion to a broader concept, which is we, the Garissa of people. the discussion is no longer the same one we had. You cannot do the same thing and you expect a different result. So it's a new dawn for Garissa people. It's a new tone that the ulama.
Right, 16 minutes past 9 o'clock. Time to take a very short break here on the State of the Nation. We'll be back with more after the break.
Kenyatta University Career Week 2026, starting Saturday 24 to 30 January. The ever-entertaining, educative, and energizing Career Week Fair will take place at KU and live on Kutv and radio station. The event is open to all high school students on Saturday 24th, free of charge. Join us and learn more on the academic programs, interact with different faculties. Public lectures on topical issues will take place throughout the week, with corporate exhibitions taking center stage as well. The official opening ceremony is on Tuesday, 27th January 2026 at KU Amphitheatre. This year's theme is dubbed Bridging Academia and Industry, Unlocking Sustainable Opportunities from Campus to Career. Be part of us as we mark the 19th edition of KU Career Week Fair 2026.
Wa jamii. Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimwele.
Welcome back and thank you for keeping it State of the Nation. Now let's continue to inform you. Now, Kenyatta University today marked the official launch of its Career Week, a week-long program that began on Saturday and is designed to enhance students' career readiness through mentorship, skills development and engagement with the industry professionals. On his first assignment as the acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor John Okumo highlighted the university's focus on career development, stressing efforts to link creativity with practical skills to equip students with the right tools and opportunities needed to succeed in their professional journey. Our very own Edna Nerea reports.
Kenyatta University today rolled out the official launch of its Career Week, a program that started on Saturday and seeks to expose students to career pathways, labor market expectations, and practical skills through interaction with employers and professionals.
2026.
On his first day as acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor John Okumo highlighted the university's focus on career development, stressing effort to link creativity with practical skills and equip students with the tools and opportunities needed to succeed in their professional journeys.
It is envisioned as a forum where disciplinary knowledge and industry practice will converge to create insights that move beyond the standard career fair. It is a space for questioning the emergence of new occupations in areas such as artificial intelligence, digital finance, climate innovation, and creative economies.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academics Professor Washeke Wanjohi stated that the university has implemented measures to enhance its competitiveness, noting that strategic planning has contributed to many graduates securing employment within their first year after graduation, reflecting the institution's commitment to career readiness.
Is that this is just one of the events One of the things that we have put in place to increase the competitiveness and employability of our graduates. There are many, many things that this university has put in place, and we are happy that whatever we have continued to do has yielded fruit. And I would like to say that in the first ever comprehensive tracer study that we did in 2024, 21% of our graduates get employment in the first 1 month.
The chief guest, Juma Mukhana, Principal Secretary for the State Department of Industry in the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry at Kenyatta University's Career Week launch, urged students to confront challenges boldly, stressing that progress of individuals, communities and the nation depends on each generation's courage to act, rise to opportunities and respond effectively to the demands of history.
Kenyatta University has long understood that education is not simply about certificates. It's about transformation of individuals, of communities, and ultimately of the nation. Every generation, ladies and gentlemen, is given a moment by history. Some generations rise to the moment, others watch it pass. Those that rise are remembered not because circumstances were easy, but because courage was greater than fear.
The event underscored the university's efforts to link students with job market, preparing them for competitiveness and professional success. Edna Nerea, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now switching gears to County 001. Now domestic workers in Mombasa County have urged the national government to ratify International Labour Organization Convention 189 and 190, warning that the abuse and exploitation rather remain widespread in the sector. The call was made during a public participation forum at Kutv Social Hall in Bombolulu, where workers described persistent violation affecting those employed locally and abroad.
Speaking during a public participation forum at Kisodep Social Hall in Bombolulu, domestic workers highlighted unpaid overtime, unclear or ignored contracts, harassment, physical and sexual abuse, and continued employment of underage children. They said weak enforcement of labor standards forces many domestic workers to endure violations in silence, with migrant domestic workers being described as facing even harsher conditions.
Sisi kama wafanyakazi wa ndani tumeishi tukipitia mambo mengi, tukidhulumiwa, haki zetu hazisikizwi. Kwanza haswa wafanyakazi wa ndani ya Kenya ndio tumeishi tukidhulumiwa, tukifanya kazi nje ya muda, na hata pia watoto wadogo wengine wakiandikwa kazi. Hiyo kufanya kazi bila contract, kufanya kazi muda ukiwa overtime, hata pia hizo harassment, abuse zimejaa sana ndani hizi manyumba zinasiri.
Advocates explain that Convention 189 seeks to promote decent work for domestic workers, while Convention 190 focuses on eliminating violence and harassment in the world of work. Civil society organizations emphasize that domestic workers are particularly exposed because they operate in private homes beyond regular public oversight, despite the law recognizing homes as formal workplaces.
Tunaomba serikali zetu kwanza za hapa Mombasani waweze kulichukulia swala hili kwa uzito, na iwapo hii act leo itapita, sijui ni policy ama ina nini, hicho kifungo ambacho kwamba tumkujia leo hapa kitapita, tuomba wakifanyie kazi na kiwe kitamtetea mfanyakazi wa ndani. Chengine tunaomba tuwe na mshahara wa kueleweka kama wafanyikazi wengine. Kwa sababu gani? Huwezi pawa loan ukiwa mfanyikazi wa nyumbani, hakuna banki ya kutambua.
Stakeholders noted that Kenya has more than 2 million domestic workers, illustrating the scale of the sector and the urgency of addressing persistent right violations. Support groups also highlighted efforts to professionalize domestic work through training, certification and skill development aimed at improving working conditions, recognition and compliance with labor standards.
As a Center for Domestic Training and Development, we have really been emphasizing on professionalizing domestic and care work in Kenya. Since 2001, we started working with the then Kenya Institute of Education, and later on we also have been working with the National Industrial Training Authority to ensure that Kenya has the curriculums that are required to drive our care economy. And so I am really, really thankful to the government that now we have at least the home care management curriculum. We also have the caregivers curriculum, the one for healthcare assistant.
Participants concluded that ratifying ILO Conventions 189 and 190 would strengthen legal protections, improve accountability among employers, and help guarantee dignity, safety, and decent work for domestic workers, both locally and abroad. Glory Kadhure, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Glory Galdure, for that comprehensive reporting. Now from Mombasa to Machakos County, where university youth leaders from Machakos County have launched a nationwide or rather county-wide voter registration drive to sensitize more young people to register as voters ahead of 2027 general elections. The initiative seeks to boost youth participation, strengthen democracy, and ensure young voices are represented in both national and county leadership.
Machakos University youth leaders have rolled out a countrywide voter registration campaign, encouraging young people and vulnerable groups to register early ahead of the 2027 general elections, urging Gen Zs to lead voter registration efforts across the entire Machakos County, focusing on vulnerable groups.
We are targeting all the vulnerables actually. So sitakwambia number at 20,000, 30,000, no. Actually we know we are so many in Machakos County. So we are targeting every Gen Z mwenye ako na ID na ana kura. That is our target. So this message is to all Gen Zs everywhere across Kenya, not just Machakos County. Flock these IBC institutions, grab your voters card, 2027, make the right decision. Kura yako ndio sauti yako.
The initiative aims to inform students who are not aware that voter registration is currently ongoing at Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC offices.
Bring these initiatives to the institutions. We are able to reach out to all the comrades, to all the students who are in this institution. So my clarion call to all the other student leaders from the other institutions, it is that let us emulate what the student leaders in these Machakos Town constituencies have begun of bringing the IEBC to the institutions so that we can be able to reach to all the comrades so that in 2027, all the comrades have a weapon to face the 10th of August 2027.
Tunafanya voter registration awareness kwa my youths as they also register because tuko na IEBC hapa ground na tunaaji kila Gen Z achukue kura. Now, come 2027, we make the right decision. That is our movement. Now, we are continuing it across Machakos County, all the vocational training centers. The approach.
With barely a year to the 2027 polls, student leaders from Machakos County hope to drum up more support for voter registration drive to empower young people to take part in key decision-making by registering as voters to ensure their voices are heard, contributing to shaping leadership and play an active role in strengthening democracy for the future of the country. Glory Kadhure, KUTV, Nairobi.
Time for the latest in the world of sports. Now, Kenya's under-20 women national football team, Harambee Starlets, is continuing with its preparation ahead of a clash against Tanzania national women's team. The match is scheduled to be played at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Nairobi on February 7th, with a return and decisive leg to be played at the Azam Complex Stadium in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania on 14th of February. The Rising Starlets head into the next phase of qualification in high spirit following an impressive performance in the second round against Ethiopia, where Kenya recorded a convincing 4-1 aggregate victory to secure a place in the third round. Now the players have expressed high hopes of securing a win against Tanzania.
Niko prepared, niko physically, niko best. Juu zoezi tumekuwa tukipewa iko juu vile nafaa. Mentally tuko sawa na tumepata support, so hakuna kitu tunaogopa. Tanzania lazima ilale tu chini.
Camp imekuwa poa since tukuje. Hii ni wiki ya pili. Tumetrain poa. Kocha anakaka vitu mingi. pia sisi tunajipush.
Lakini inalingana vile umeset mentality yako like kama player, because si kila kitu inakuja rahisi. Kama kusema champion ni rahisi, lakini kuwa champion ndio ngumu. So we must fight. Na pia kama tulifika World Cup kama under 17, that means hata under 20 tutafika.
That's all we had prepared for you tonight. Many thanks for the men and women behind the scene, and for all our esteemed viewers for always keeping us a company. In the last 31 minutes or so, my good name is Auma. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Naomi Omboy. Until next, do have a lovely night, and let's meet next time, or rather next week, same place, same time, by the grace of God.